exploring every land, no map, no reverse. Oh, Digger 420, curious Canuck. Answers on your mind, never getting stuck. Riding waves of stars through the cosmic sea, finding who we are in the galaxy. She's got questions to ask and a fire that won't die, unraveling each task under the sky. Oh, Digger 420, curious Canuck. Answers on your mind, never getting stuck. Riding waves of stars through the cosmic sea, finding who we are in the galaxy. She's got questions to ask and a fire that won't die, unraveling each task under the sky. Oh, Digger 420, curious Canuck. Answers on your mind, never getting stuck.
Because, Hello, everyone. How are you doing? It is Thursday. Thank goodness we're nearly there. Hello, MJ. Hello, Wild. Hello, Fill Some Holes. How you doing? Oh, it's been a day. Not a bad day at all, but just one of those frustrating days. Everything takes longer than you think it's gonna take, and like I swear I'm missing time sometimes. This morning I was up early. I was getting ready for the day, plenty of time, and then suddenly it was in half an hour to the morning reading stream, and I'm knee deep in cats and cat ears, and forgotten that I had to stream, and was just half ready. So I thought I can either rush and come in late and be like that all day, or I can just regroup and start again at this time. So that's what I did, and I am so glad I did. It worked a lot better the second time around. Let me do this first and close those. I forgot I don't need to have those open. There we go. So it'll stutter just a little bit until it realizes that it's okay and it's working less hard. And then it'll catch up again. How are you guys doing this Thursday? What's happened? I honestly, for Pete's sakes, I wish it would catch up. Here, tell you what, I'm going to do this just for a few. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to close those two completely. And there. Okay. So we'll let it think. I just closed as much as I could. We'll let it think. MJ saying today was better than Monday. Well, that's good. That's definitely good. What was wrong on Monday? I can't remember. I honestly, did you have one of your headaches? I can't remember. I know that you suffer with them, so. Yeah, I honestly, at this moment, I can't even remember what I did on Monday. I know we chatted with friends and I had a blast on that stream, but the morning was a bit of a blur. No water. Oh, that sucks. Was there a burst water main or some fun stuff? Hello, Fallen. How you doing? I didn't knew Canada Internet was part of the tariff. Right? Nat Clo too. Hello, how you doing? It's good to see ya. Yeah, they've I live in a town that actually works on infrastructure and keeping it up to date. So we lived the last 2 summers, they've been working on my section of town, replacing everything. This will be the first summer. Holy Hannah, it's really jerky. I wonder why. I am literally got nothing open but StreamYard and the chat box from Rumble. Shit. Anyway, so we've got new stuff, and this summer should be brilliant. MJ saying the water line broke Saturday at my place, out back by the well. Oh no, that's not good. So does that mean that it's you've got to do the work to fix it, or is there a city that has to come in and do something about it? Sounds like it got fixed one way or another by now, if you're doing much better. Oh. Yeah, I've it's weird the last couple of weeks, I guess. I feel like it's just zooming by, and I'm getting a whole lot of nothing done, and I can't really remember what it was I did. It's all just kind of a blur, you know. I need to find, you know what I need to do? I need to find some better medicinal marijuana, because I think I've run out of all the other stuff. I think everything I've got left is an indica, which is much more of a stone. Hello, Johnny. Turn it loose. Turn it loose. I don't know if you can even see that. It looks like I'm roboting. I swear I restarted my PC just before I opened this. Who knows what's going on? Either way, hopefully it'll figure itself out. If not, I'll just turn the camera off and we can just chat anyways. Geez, I was gonna open. Oh, and there goes that. Everything at once. I thought that by starting later, I felt great. I had everything going. It was a much better start, and then suddenly I hit go, and this starts to stutter like crazy, and the phone starts to ring again, and oh goodness. I am live. Oops. Live. Sorry. Jeez Louise. Anyways, well, it looks like if I don't pay attention, it's getting a little bit better. No, this is the new cat stand. You guys can't really see it here. Okay. There we go. Anyways, show you my muscles. This is the new stand. So that's the base of it. And then this is the top of it. And the great thing is, as Sweets is saying, it's kind of like their new favorite hangout. There, it fits a lot closer. I would have it turned one more so that this was fully in shot, but I kept hitting my funny bone, something fierce. So it has to stay there, but when they lean into the pets, they'll they'll be visible. Yes. Yes. And they do like it. I was concerned at first that they weren't really sure if they liked it or not, but I gave it some time and they love it now. It's also great because it gets them, when I open the curtains, it gets them above the railing of the deck. So they've got a lot more cat TV to look at. So it's really cool when the geese go flying over, or the little robins or sparrows are just jumping around in the tree. They get to watch it and they love it. Hello, Brian. How you doing? Hello, AP. Late Night Ramblings. Good to see you. Pardon me. So yeah, see, she's she's on it right now. She's decided right now is going to be playtime. She was doing a similar this morning. She being Sweets, she's very playful. She keeps annoying Boo. As soon as Boo gets comfortable, and she gets tired of me, she goes after Boo, and it's just kind of a pain in the butt for Boo. So she's hiding in the kitchen window at the moment. Hi, Tim. How you doing? Digger drinks the water of life. That's why her eyes are blue. How you doing? I like the new avatar. That's very cool. I guess I could, you know what? I could do that, and then you guys could kind of see it. Holy Hannah, and then it got jumpy again. Just for showing it can't be just that. I pay a lot of money for my decent internet. Where's the big issue? Okay. Apparently it is just StreamYard. Is that hogging that much stuff at the moment? Very weird. It doesn't usually do that. You make folks jump, says Tim. Fair enough. All right. Well, hopefully the audio's good. Let me just do that for a few, and we can sit back, and at least I'm not roboting and looking all all stuttery. Here comes Boo anyways. Moving the curtain in the kitchen, blinding me with the sunlight. It's beautiful out here, by the way. It's freezing, but it's gorgeous. It's crisp and sunshiny and clear blue skies. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's going to be a dry, hot summer. And I cannot wait. It needs to warm up now. There wasn't any snow, and now it needs to just give up and warm up. So let's see. Let's see if I can actually do stuff without the camera on. Did Digger share the YouTube video I sent her? It's one of those Suno songs titled Another Win for the Toe. No, I forgot all about that. The YouTube, let me, or rather, that's Wild saying it to, okay, wait a minute. That's Wild saying it to Johnny, not the other way around. Let me actually open my email. Something I don't do often enough. Okay, it's funny saying, well, it's Wild saying. Here we go. There it is. All right. There. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Click. Oh, yeah, no, I can't full screen. Not yet. Here we go. Present. And because it's Suno, it shouldn't stutter too much in theory, right? There. Okay. Now we can do that. All right. This is from Watcher. Another win for the toe.
Randy Baltimore is in love with his wife. He takes a million pictures of her with his mind.
Is it working on?
Can't get away with it anymore. It's all Kino watching in the court of law. Another win for the toe. Another Another win for the toe. Another win for the toe. Another win for the toe.
No? Laggy? Sounds like aliens. Darn it all. Darn it all. Yeah, I guess I guess I was asking too much. If it can't let my camera play without playing the robot, why on earth would it let me play a video, right? All right. May I share the link, Wild? It's not you. It's not your channel, so I wouldn't want to share it if it's not, if you don't want it to. Sounded good for me. It's okay, just share with Aaron and Johnny. Perfect. That's what I'll do. Okay. Trump floss. Perfect. All right. Let me do that right now. So other than that, other than the fact that my PC's decided to potato suddenly, what's happened in the world? I haven't been paying attention. I really haven't been paying attention at all. There we go. Come back over here and close that all down again. There we go. Probably Canadian tech become America. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like I said, it was fine. It was, you know, it's been fine. Sometimes it just decides to be really, really bad. Alberta has not yet joined the USA. There are talks that it may potentially, perhaps, join the USA. In my opinion, if we were to do that, we'd be better off to just become Western Canada, as opposed to becoming more of America. We can become Western Canada, our own country with our own constitution and everything. That would mean we'd have to kick out the CCP and the other gangs that have taken over the Lower Mainland, which I don't know if BC people are willing to do. I think they're just too cowed down on the coast. They just do what they're told to do, and it's unfortunate. But if we were to become Americans, that is one of the good things, is that you guys would have to come in and kick the CCP out and the gangs out of the Lower Mainland BC. That would be lovely. We could definitely use that help. MJ saying, I haven't been paying attention. ADD. Right. I haven't been paying attention either. I was watching the Hawaii volcano for a while. Oh, okay, Wild. That's cool. I heard it was erupting at the moment, but honestly, there's been so many erupting that it's not quite as fascinating to me anymore. It's not the same as sitting in front of a bonfire, you know, and just staring into the bonfire, or at least not for me. I have really enjoyed the eagles, though. The cats love the eagles as well. Every once in a blue moon, one of them will start to call out, and both the cats are like perked up and looking around, just loving it. Sweet Snow's to look at the TV. I think she's figured out that they're there. But I don't think she's figured out why they're not. They're just flat. They're noisy, but they don't have any smell or anything like that. So she just stares at the TV. Boo just looks around, tries to find the sound, and then goes back to sleep. Ryan says, I think you guys would get raided by your own government to prevent it from happening. Honestly, I think we'd be raided by China. before our own government, or rather, our government would be acting in favor of China. That's what our government's been doing. The foreign interference stuff, that's been happening over here for years and years too. It's just China that's been interfering over here. And they've really been interfering. It's not just made up Russia, 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 you know? Squab Up says, we'd take Alberta for your women. Yes. Albertan women are also, yeah, they're well-built, beautiful women. They come from, you know, good stock, rancher stock. It's a beautiful province. I couldn't live there. I was born in the middle of the mountains, and I've been to Alberta many, many times. It's too flat. I know there's mountains there or hills there, but it's not the Rocky Mountains. It's not the Three Sisters. I kind of feel a little exposed when I leave BC and the Rockies and start heading into Alberta. And I know that's one thing that really bothered me when I went into Saskatchewan as well. Saskatchewan is prairie. It is nothing and flat for as far as the eye can see. It's perfect for what it is, agricultural land. It's beautiful, and the people there are wonderful. But I just feel so overexposed. It's it's just too much openness. I need my mountains kind of hugging in around me. Fill some holes. I'd come visit. Whereabouts are you again? I can't quite remember. Yeah, I think you're a Canuck as well. I think you're East Coast. I may be totally wrong though, because my memory is Swiss cheese. MJ says, just kick them on up north. Well, no, they're down on the coast. We want to come up behind them and push them right back into the ocean and back across the ocean. You know, their country it's just a little ways away for that ocean there. They can just go back. There's an awful lot of them all across the country. They've been allowed to set up their own police stations across the country so they can pick up defectors and malcontents, whoever they deem to be, you know, bad. They can scoop them up legally here across the country. It's scary and it's sad, and I would really like that if we could just get rid of that. If we could just get them out, you know, let's bring it back to the days when Canada was Canadian. It was, you know, it was so much nicer. Let's give this a try. Let's see. Okay. As long as I move slowly and don't click on anything, it should be okay in theory. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I would just like BC to be controlled by BCers again. That would be nice. If we disagree, we disagree, but at least we're all people who live here and are Canadians and BCers. If we can get the people who are here and doing things on behalf of other governments, that would be lovely. And if the cost of getting them out of BC is becoming American, you know, that's a very small price to pay, so to speak. We'd be coming in and getting your constitution, which is something I've envied for as long as I could understand just what it meant and how important it was. So, you know, it would definitely not be a hardship. Definitely not be a hardship. Sorghum. Seeing that's sounding familiar as well. There we go. Oop. And then I did that, so I'm probably going all Okay, all I can find is sorghum, like the wheat. I thought you were okay, I thought you were talking about, where you are. I thought it was a town called Sorghum, and then I went to look for it, and I couldn't find it. So there we go. I stare into a fire to contemplate my limited fleeting existence, says Brian. Ah, I stare into a fire to enjoy the beauty of the flames, I guess. I like the dance. Baby Jizz was flexing his eaglet wings today. Oh, good. That's something I haven't done. I didn't check on them yet today. Yeah, it was shoot. We named them Jizz and something to do with the mouth, right? I can't remember. You have to remind me and I'll write it down. So, in fact, I may very well have written it down because it was that important. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if I had it written here. This jizz and something. No, I didn't. I wasn't that intelligent. I've got other messages that I've got to remember to look up, though. Fill some holes. It says Minnesota by Johnny. Okay. All right. So you're up there. Okay. Wild says it looks like a wheat field for 900 miles. Yes. Saskatchewan is just nothing. Open emptiness. It's wild. It really is. I mean, it's amazing, but it just felt like I was way too exposed. I'm used to living at the base, at the foot of the mountains, the big, big mountains, not just little rolling hills like Alberta has. There she goes using that word theory. Right? In theory. Just become an American territory. You still get your own president. We don't wouldn't we have to be under your president? We'd get our own governor, I guess. I was thinking about that too. Would each province, pardon me, get its own governor and statehood, or would we just be like glomped together? Because we're pretty large. Our provinces are way larger than most of your states. So especially out west here. So it'd be nice if we could keep our individual identities within it. Again, that's why I'm saying becoming Western Canada, is a lot more agreeable in a lot of ways than becoming American. Like I said, though, that would entail us taking care of our own issue on the coast, and BCers can't do it, at least not on their own. Yeah, it's interesting. Brad West is the mayor of Port Coquitlam, which is the town that I grew up in. He is one of the few people on the coast of, or in the lower mainland of BC, that is actually openly fighting against the CCP and its takeover of the lower mainland BC. There was a news thing recently. He and his family have been added onto the CCP list, like the list. So they're needing extra protection or some protection or something. It's wild that they're making such overt moves on a mayor of a relatively small town outside of Vancouver, BC. The only thing that really makes Poco different from anyone else, hello, is is the mayor. He's, the only reason it stayed so nice. And it really is nice. The drug problems that started in Vancouver and have slowly been spreading across the province, we've got them too. We've got the zombies that just sit bent in impossible angles wherever they stop. We've got all of that out here, and I'm in the interior of BC. So it's really, really bad. And he's managed to keep that out of Port Coquitlam as much as possible. He did a lot of re-landscaping of the downtown area to make it possible to see across, see everything. So there's nowhere for them to hide, nowhere for them to wait to rob the old folks and the people with young kids that live there. He's cleaned up the river trail, so it's all open. Everyone can see. It's really nice. It's very well done. It still definitely feels like we're in the forest already, but it's a safe environment. So I'm very happy that my dad and stepmom are still living there because they're getting on a little bit. And yeah, I like that they're safe there. Baby Hammy. There it is. Thank you, Wild. Baby Hammy. Hi, Lexi. How you doing? Yes, Baby Jizz and Baby Hammy. That's right. They're adorable little eaglets. AP saying yes, Brian saying you're right, Governor. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Fill some holes. Have you ever been to many states? I've been to Washington State. I've been to Oregon. I believe that's it. I really haven't gone to the East Coast. I haven't gone further east than Saskatchewan. That's it for my travels. So, other than, I mean, I know Oregon and Washington State felt almost like the backyard to the Lower Mainland where I grew up. It's all the same terrain and the same sort of people, granola people, that sort of thing. Well, it isn't anymore, but it was growing up. It was really nice. And the area is still really nice. There's some beautiful old forests in Washington State and in Portland. You can hike through, and just the old growth. The trees are huge, and it's almost like you're in almost like a domed off section of the world. It just sounds different and feels. I really like the outdoors. I really love being in the forest and close to lakes or rivers. If you couldn't tell, that's part of why I love BC so much. It really is. It's still raw, just because us humans have been there for a while. It's still beautiful and untouched. It's really beautiful. Hi, Kaiser. How you doing? Hello, Linda. How you doing? Here to listen and lurk. Fair enough. It's nice to see you. I'm glad you said hi. But yeah, so it seems to be a little bit happier now. So we'll just hope. Fill some hole says you might like the land of lakes, northern Minnesota. Yeah, it's funny. I was looking at that comparatively. Minnesota's got a little bit more like sunshine per season than I do here in BC, which is odd because I live in interior BC and I live on the edge of desert. So it's really sunshiny most of the year. Even if it needs to rain, it rains and it's broad daylight. It's beautiful. Every single raindrop is its own miniature rainbow. It's so pretty. It's so very pretty. Much better than the coast. It's rainforest and it's always damp everything is always damp. AP says basically what the Upper Peninsula is the land that time forgot. I've heard of the Upper, or the Up. I can't remember which. But that's just the other side of the border. And it's fairly nice and untouched on our side of that border as well. That's one thing that they were really good at doing. They tried to keep the land nice. We didn't, we really tried to protect it all across both our countries, and it shows, it pays. I just love the beauty of it all. The Upers, the Up, the UP. The Upers live in the Up, in the UP. Do it separately. Okay. Upers live in the UP. Gotcha. UP has legal weed. Gotcha. I'm actually going to do, let's see. I need to be able to look, make sure that I'm not misspeaking. Oh, for Pete's sakes. That's not going to work for me, right? Oh, okay. I can squint. No, I can't. Images. No. Will you let me look at that one? There we go. Thank you. Holy Hannah. See, tech doesn't like me, and I've got all this stuff opening. I sure hope I'm not stuttering. So far, so good. Okay. So here we go. Yeah, it is Manitoba Manitoba and Ontario. Okay, yeah. Because you're further over there. So you're facing Ontario. And then Quebec is further. Yeah, I would assume that it's pretty nice out there. I was talking out my butt though. I've never really seen a whole lot of the wild, the prettiness of of Ontario, at least not along the border area. There we go. I know, like I said, I've gone as far as Saskatchewan. I went halfway halfway across the province. But that's about it. Halfway across the lower half of the province of Saskatchewan even. I have been to Alaska, actually. Haha. I've been to Alaska. I forgot about that. As children, road trips, my mom and dad would drive us all the way up there. Fort McMurray. We had friends who lived out there, and so it was fun. I've been to Mile Zero in Alaska, of the Alaskan Highway. That was kind of a neat side trip one day. The Upers in the UP. Yeah. The Upper Peninsula is called God's Country. Okay. So it is pretty pristine then. Because I've heard rumor that both sides of the border have really mistreated the Great Lakes. I've been told that they're, filthy, disgusting water. You can't swim in them anymore. Hello, Lady Autumn Sky. How you doing? Yeah, I was looking forward. I saw your comment, lady. I was looking forward to starting Prepare today, but as I was saying at the beginning of the stream, the morning just started out not working. Not bad, but everything that that I was trying to do took longer than it should. And next thing you know, I was running out of time. I thought rather than scramble all day long, I just reset and start again at 4 for my time. So that seemed to work for me. I feels like it's actually doing a lot better now. Knocking on wood. Things aren't roboting or stuttering. I won't try to share a video, promise. But next Thursday morning, the reading stream will go on as normal, and I am starting to read Prepare. It's the first book Stephen Gosney ever wrote, and I do have a first edition signed copy. But he was kind enough to send me the latest edition of it. So I'll be reading it off the screen instead of out of a book this time. But I'm really excited. I love it. He's got a new edition. He's updated his information. It's really, I'm excited. And I have a feeling I've read it again with my mind, with my memory. I remember the gists of some of the ideas, but for the most part, it's gone. So it'll be nice to read it again and take in the information again. It's funny. I just recently watched History of the World with someone maybe 2 months ago, roughly, and I couldn't remember a scene that they were talking about just the other day. And I've seen that movie, History of the World. I've seen it a zillion times. At one point, I did have scenes memorized, whole scenes memorized, and now it's just gone. I'm very much like the 51st Dates movie. You can show me a movie or a TV series and give it a few months and I'll totally forget it, and you can show it to me all over again like brand new. Hmm. All right. So apparently, oh, I missed a little bit. Teddy Roosevelt is AP's favorite president, got the Land Act signed to keep the country from being just mega city one. That's good. Yeah. Hello, Mr. Q. How you doing? And Mr. Q says they drove you to Alaska. Oh, that's nice. On that nice road that the United States Army Corps of Engineers built for you. Hey, we keep it up. We do the upkeep on it. I'll bring this up on the screen. I watched a little like 20-minute video thing. Not news. It's not like it was happening, but a what if sort of a situation. Now, think about it. The Alaskan Highway cannot be accessed except on the Alaska side and in BC. Forget about Canada. BC has control of that highway. The premise of the video was that if BC wanted to, and the stupid premier that, in my opinion, stole the last provincial election, in my opinion, and he's all about the tariffs, tariff Trump back, and this, that, and the other thing. So if he wanted to be a real dick, we could shut down access or extremely minimize access to Alaska. We could make it very, very difficult in land, sea, and in the air. Tolls and just saying no to our airspace. Lots and lots of things. The cruise liners, they have to come in and stop along BC, or else it takes literally days to get around to Alaska. And cruises to Alaska are a really big thing. I don't know if you know, my mom and stepdad have done a few, at least 3, I think, cruises. Well, maybe 2 cruises to Alaska, maybe 3. They've done other places to Panama Canal and that sort of thing. They were big cruisers pre-COVID, but there's a lot of cruise ships that go up to Alaska, and they have to cross through Vancouver. That's your port. And we get a lot of tourist money coming in there because of that. But if Eby wanted to be a total dick, which he's going to easily shut off Alaska, or at least make it much, much more difficult to get goods into and out of. Forget about the people. So it was an interesting documentary. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's always interesting to think about the what ifs. It's just a mind exercise, I guess. Work out all the different potentials and possibilities, and it's not one that I thought of at all. I feel like I've got a frog in my throat. I've been especially dehydrated lately. I've cut myself down to just one pot of coffee. Once it's done, no more coffee the rest of the day. So hopefully that'll help a bit. It's only like day 2, day 3 with only one pot of coffee. So we'll see. But yeah, it was an interesting thought problem. And the potential, it wouldn't be devastating, but it would be a royal pain in America's butt. Royal pain in the butt, which may cause you guys in America to decide to come in and kick the CCP off the coast anyways, so that you can take us over and get full control of the access to Alaska. There's something to think about too. Mr. Q says Lake Superior is still clean and nice north of Duluth. Okay. Lady says no worries, just happy you're getting to read the book. No problem. I'm happy to. It's definitely a good book, and it's going to be fun to go back into it. There's a lot of our friends are mentioned, if not outright, they are mentioned within the book. It's very nice, or at least in the first edition. It's really cool. AP says I'd stay out of Ontario and Erie, though. Okay. Yeah, one of them I heard actually has like nuclear waste or something in there. I can't remember. Maybe I'm making that bit up. It was really, really bad. Like no one wants to swim in it at all. Danger, danger. Wild says, oops, click on it right. Lake Superior is beautiful but cold. Lake Huron is clean and cold. Lake Michigan has the best sandy beaches, and Lake Erie is a notoriously dirty lake. Okay, so it's Erie is the dirty one. Good. That's good. Yeah, clean and cold. We've got a lot of glacier-fed lakes where I grew up. It's I am very well aware of cold lakes. I learned how to kayak from a friend. There was 2 of us learning, and our friend's parents sold kayaks and canoes, so we were able to get brand new sea kayaks, and she was teaching us how to kayak, but it's on the coast and it's a rainforest, so of course it rains 9 times out of 10. The day she decided to take the 2 of us and teach us how to right ourselves if we roll over upside down, how to right ourselves, how to get the skirt off so that we can get out of it if we need to. She decided to take us to the glacier-fed lake, and it was like torrential downpour. It was ridiculous. It was so freaking cold. The 2 of us learned how to right ourselves and secure ourselves back in so quickly. I think we were maybe out there for like an hour and then we were packing up and driving back again because it was ridiculous. It was stupid cold, but we learned, and I have never forgotten that. Hello, Boosh. How you doing? More than a wolf. There's 2 that you can see there. There's a lot more in it. There's actually more than I originally thought. There were. I thought there was just 3 of them, but there's more. They're, like, hiding within the blanket. Kinda cool. Brian says he's been fucking busy, but good. Yeah, safe light coming to to fix the crack you got in your windshield. Right. So you get to work on your paper. That sounds good. That's not the paper that you did in a rush because you thought you were going to be late with it? Boosh. Sire, the people are revolting. Tell me about it. Right? Yeah, it'll I don't know. My favorite saying that I ever heard, it's a blessing and a curse. I was told it's ancient Chinese, but it says, "May you live in interesting times." And I do believe we live in very interesting times. Especially like I was born 79. So I've in this the fact that I'm 45 is still weird to me sometimes. I don't feel 45, but in my 45 years, there's been so much that has happened, like world-shaking events, history-making events happened in my lifetime. I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. And I'm kind of here for it. I'm concerned, but I'm here for it too. Change is good. No matter how scary it is, change is good. So I'm here for it. If we have to become American to get rid of, foreign entities in our province, I'm okay. I'm okay with it. Bush is saying, "Forget about Canada." Been there, done that. How you doing? Good to see you. Wild says the main problem the lakes have is invasive species from the saltwater vessels discharging their ballast water. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I guess that wouldn't be too good in a freshwater. Mr. Q. Yeah, because it's working out. It's working out really good for Panama to try and shut off access for us. Hey, I'm not saying it would be a good idea or a smart idea, but it is a plausible move, right? Slightly different timeline, slightly angrier or more power hungry PM in BC. It's a lot more plausible than it would have been to me back in the 90s. Shutting off power or shutting off access to Alaska. It's actually a thing I wouldn't rule out anymore. It's wild. AP says you can't. There was a treaty signed when we built the road. Trump would shut the Canadian economy down. Again, I didn't say it was a good idea. It's a good thought problem. It was not an option I had previously even considered because it's such a dumb idea. Such a dumb idea. But the video was compelling. It was interesting to see. They broke it down very oh shoot, what's the word? They were very honest about it. They weren't biased on one side or the other. I totally couldn't tell if it was a left or a right made video. It was just hypotheses and answers. So it was pretty interesting. I really don't think even EB would be dumb enough to try something like that. I don't think he would be. That's just silliness. But I think it would be much more likely that BC joins Alberta and Saskatchewan and just becomes America, becomes another state or territory. But yeah, going back to the you can't do it because of the treaty signed, AP. If we had a slightly different, more power hungry PM, say, Carney, You know, if you wanted to make a land grab, it's not without. It's not something that rather he could do it fairly easily. Could do it fairly easily. It wouldn't last forever, but it would definitely be a thorn in your side for a while. So, it all depends on what kind of leaders you get. Look at what we had with Trudeau. He was, Mr. Fancy Pants. He was jet setting across the world constantly, doing whatever he wanted, living off of like 1,800. I think it was either 1,500 or $1,800 a month just on food for him and his family. Can you imagine just $1,500 a month just to feed you and the family? They had a lot more money and they could spend it. They lived very lavishly. But can you imagine? I live off of just over 1,500 a month total. It's it was a huge shock to see just how much was being wasted to feed a family. I think it's the family of 4. I think he only has the 2 kids. I'm pretty sure. I don't think he has an older one. Sorry, now I've got cat fur in my nose and it's going to bug the heck out of me. Bush. Trump. Ew. We're going to stop making money and fire a bunch of people to show everyone how bad he is. I don't know. I'm really enjoying this. I guess he took on the Department of Education today, and there was something else I saw. Slightly obscure, but I can't quite remember what it was. Either which way, yeah, he's ripping through those departments, slashing and cutting. There's it's a lot of fun to watch. Phil Holes says my mom and dad did the cruise with their RV. Oh, that's cool. Mom and Doug live in an RV now. They chose when they had to sell their home. They chose to just buy a really fancy RV and live in that. They've got a lot that they can, park it at year round. But whenever they so choose, they can just, pack everything up and go. They've got family and friends on across the border, and all around BC. It's fun for them. It's not quite as extravagant as a cruise, but they have a lot of fun. So Mr. Q says, I thought that most cargo, especially when it came to food products that went to Alaska, came from either California or Oregon or Washington, one of those port cities. Quite likely it goes from their port to Vancouver's ports, and then it has to go. You've got water, land, or air. Those are your options. I think there's train as well as the main highway. So it's not like you're just relying on that one road, but still it wouldn't be that hard for BC to impose a bunch of, tolls for the roads. And like I said, just cutting off airspace above BC, like our airspace, just no, you can't come through there anymore. Same with our waterways. You can't use the waterways anymore. Find your own way around, forcing you guys to go the long way around, which costs everyone more everything, I know. Stop eating frogs. What are you, French? Yeah, I know. The frogs that are bothering my throat, I believe, have something to do with the cigarettes that I've been smoking for like 30 odd years, more than 30 years. I've been thinking about quitting, wanting to quit, kind of feeling like I should quit from like a biblical perspective. I'm feeling impressed upon to to be healthier and to take care of my body. But for all of that, cigarettes are just so addictive. I wake up and I have a smoke. And if I don't get to have my smoke, everything's just a little bit off. And I don't know. It's been a part of my day-to-day life for more than half of my life. And I just haven't been able to stop. So I don't know. I've got to do it, but I haven't been able to yet. And I've been lucky. Lucky too. I won't go any further than that, but I'm lucky with the cost of my cigarettes. Ben says, sounds like you need a bigger pot then. Oh, that was only a few minutes ago. 10, 12 minutes. I don't know what pot. A bigger pot then. I don't know what you're saying. I'm sorry. That's already gone. My brain has been lately too. Like I said, I've been just it's taking me to everything I do. It's taking longer for me to do it than it used to take. And suddenly I'll go and do a thing. And, I'm used to it taking 10 minutes. And so I go and I do it, and I'm not taking, in my mind, it doesn't take me, I'm not doing more steps. I'm not, doing anything extra, but suddenly I've lost like 20, 30 minutes. And it's a pain in the butt. And then trying to remember stuff is just, it's near impossible, especially if it's only a few minutes ago. AP is saying, are you saying show or share Canada what it costs the US to build it? Hundreds of billions in today's dollars. We wouldn't even notice, to be honest. Oh, charge. There we go. I got it. Yeah, well, in this video's premise, it wouldn't be like that. They just toll the heck out of it. Mr. Q says those Frenchy French. Yeah, those guys over on the other side of the country. Not so sure about them. Bush is saying to Mr. Q, long-haul truckers go from all over the U.S. to up north. I've met a few. One said the roads are so straight and have ruts deep enough. It's basically cruise control. Played games and cooked. Yeah, it's especially Saskatchewan. It literally was just flat, and you just drove straight for days. It was wild. It was so empty. Bush is saying not cruise control, but actual autopilot. Hello, Tammy. How you doing? Thank you. Pardon me. Sea kayak, take kayak. Haha. No, SEA. They were sturdy enough. If we wanted to go out into the ocean and a killer whale pod came up on you, you had a decent, as long as you didn't piss them off, you could quite decently stick around and keep up with them for quite a while before taking off back to shore. Sea kayaks, they have foot pedals which work a rudder, so you get a lot more, and they're even more streamlined. They're awesome. Sea kayaks are really awesome. Kaiser says I need a bigger boat than a kayak. Yeah, I like the kayak for myself because every time I get into a canoe, I'm the one in the back of the canoe paddling my butt off, getting us to wherever we need to be, while the other two people in all the gear are sitting up front, passing a joint or drinking a beer or playing guitar, having a grand old time, I always end up sitting in the back doing all the work. So I realized fairly early on I preferred a kayak because it was just me and my gear. So if people wanted to, goof around or not, put the effort in, they could do that and spin around in circles in the canoe in the middle of the lake. That's fine. But I was going to actually be able to get myself and my stuff to wherever it was we're going in a decent amount of time and not just be servants to someone else. AP, safe flight repair, safe flight replace. Hi, JK. How you doing? Tammy's saying howdy to everyone. Brian's saying, no, I have a 3 to 5 page research review to write on a concept associated with mass spectrometry. Okay. Alongside pyrolysis to identify and quantify microplastics. Oh, interesting. Okay. Put it up there. So I kind of mumbled through it. So you're using mass gas spectrometry alongside pyrolysis. Pyrolysis? Yeah, I think I'm saying that right. Is that when you add electrical current to a water? I'm not certain about pyrolysis. But you're wanting to quantify the microplastics within bodies of water. That would be interesting, especially off the coast of BC. We've been for the last, I don't know, however many years it's been since Fukushima blew and leaked into the ocean. Since China had that insane tsunami and storm, things have been washing up on the BC coastline, and it's wild the amounts of nuclear radiation in the water, though minute and not, it's nothing that's going to hurt anyone. Like our marine life isn't growing extra eyes or anything. It's not like that, but it is definitely risen. We've had wild amounts of garbage and things just floating up out of the ocean and onto our coasts, boats, all sorts of plastic stuff, junk, and not just the single feet, some with, some without shoes. Those are different. Those are another weird thing. But we've been having all sorts of actual debris washing up. Some couple had a boat wash up along their houseboat. So they strapped it up. They repaired it, made it seaworthy again. And then they went on a discovery trying to figure out whose boat it was, who owned this boat, managed to track down the owner and managed to sail the boat back to China to the owner. It was a documentary I watched. Wild story. Very cool. This retired BC couple, they just live on a houseboat. They kind of putter through the different inlets and islands and stuff. And they just happened to have this boat come up on them, and they were able to return it to the Chinese owner. It was very cool. While saying the American Navy could blockade the port, nothing in, nothing out. Think about it. They could, definitely could. Again, not a good idea, not a smart idea, but the potential was interesting. It would last less time than Trudeau and his bloviating about tariffs. Yeah, well, he didn't stick around long enough to really have to deal with the tariffs, right? It was just tail end. It's interesting. Carney's been working in the background with the Trudeau and his Liberal Party this whole time. Some people are calling Mark Carney the brains behind Trudeau. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense that was the one good thing about Trudeau. He didn't really have much more in the way of ambition. He's maybe not necessarily, what's the word? Not really mean or malicious. He's just very narcissistic and into enjoying life the best that he can. So fiscally, that was horrible for. And I mean, on the global sphere, that was not great for us. He was a puppet dancing to whomever decided to pay him or give him the nicer trip, right? He made a lot of trips to China, made a lot of trips to India, had a lot of fun dressing up. But he wasn't really in it for more than that. Mark Carney he's actually intelligent, for one. He's very intelligent. He's a banker first. Banker always. This is his first foray into any sort of politics. So yeah, he's never done it before. There's already concerns about his ethics and his own personal investments and stuff like that. So I don't know. The rumor is they're going to call for a snap election on Sunday. That's the rumor. Who knows? In the meantime, in order to call for a snap election or to even consider doing it, he had to talk to the deputy minister, and they had to agree to shut down Parliament, because Parliament cannot be open and running while there's a federal election going. But the funny thing is, Trudeau prorogated our Parliament back in January, and it was never reopened. Carney took the place through selection, not election, and instead of opening up Parliament or one of 1,000 things he could have done, he hopped on the Prime Minister's plane and jet set off to the EU to talk to his masters in the WEF. He's done nothing for us except now come back, and it sounds like he's decided he's going to make his snap election. And because he's going to do that, our Parliament just stays closed. And even a snap election won't be up until the end of April, middle of May, somewhere around there. And that's if they full steam ahead and do it as soon as possible. And what's he doing in the meantime, right? How much is he costing us? What agreements is he making? What things are going on when the Parliament isn't able to keep an eye on it? Not that they're just as dirty as the rest of them, but if we want to keep up pretenses, the Parliament should be open. AP says, unless something has changed in my life, that road, being the Alaskan Highway, is one of the only roads U.S. citizens can travel with all their firearms into Canada without question. Interesting. I mean, I guess you'd have to be permitted, unless they want to force you to ship them. Nowadays, who knows? We're not allowed to buy handguns. So, yeah, who knows? They may have changed the rules about what you guys are allowed to arm yourselves with while traveling that bit of highway. Tammy says, I live off less than $12.50. See? So yeah, you understand. It's we get by and we're okay, right? But could you imagine having $1,500 a month just to feed yourself? I can't imagine. And that's not, their housing and clothing, all the trips and the this and the that, and the Prime Minister's home It's a beautiful historical old home, old building, lots of property. Trudeau grew up in it because his dad was prime minister for quite a while. So that's his old family home. When he got elected, he and his family did not move into there, and they just let it go to rot, literally. No one's been in there. There's been no upkeep of the building and its surrounds. It's literally been sitting there rotting away. The front stoop and front area looks good for the occasional times when he needs a a video sort of thing. But yeah, it's been left just to rot, and it's really disappointing. It's a beautiful historical building. I don't know if the next person to be PM, I don't know if they're even going to bother to repair and restore it. I would like to think they would, but these days, no one really cares anymore. I mean, look, we're talking about I'm actually somewhat okay with potentially becoming a new state in America. That I would not have believed, 5 years, 2 years ago, but Canada has gotten so bad, so bad. And BC is as liberal as Ottawa, and because of that, we've allowed foreign entities to come in and just take it over, and we need help to get them out. Regular BC people, like those of us who live on this side of the Rockies, away from the reach from the lower mainland, and the different factions fighting over the lower mainland. The rest of us, we would really like them all to just fuck off and let us get back to it. Justin was spending his Bitcoin. Oh, I highly doubt he would be spending his Bitcoin. He got to spend taxpayer money on whatever he wanted for 9 years. You got to remember, his government couldn't balance a budget to save their soul. One of the things that made Pierre Poilievre brought him to the point where he became the leader of the opposition party was because he is so fiscally responsible. Poilievre is not the greatest choice. He works for the UN, but he's a heck of a lot better than any of the Liberals, any of the NDP. So I just hope that all of Canada rolls out and votes in favor of conservative government, majority conservative government, and just let them roll it back as much as they're willing to. Which will at least, fiscally, it'll make life a lot easier for Canadians across the board. Getting rid of carbon tax, all of the carbon tax, not just some of it or lowering parts and this and that, just getting rid of it. That alone would make life so much easier for Canadians. Right now, our money is worth, being generous, 3/4 of what yours is. So 75 cents on the dollar. I'm being generous. But at that, the cost of living here is twice what it is for you guys. The cost of a house, or rather a house that costs like $250,000 in America, average, you're paying at least $500,000 or closer to $1 million for in BC alone. It's horrendous. Everything costs so much money here. For some reason, BC buys 20 to 30% of its electricity we buy from the States. We are the hydroelectric powerhouse. We shouldn't have to we shouldn't have to buy any electricity for our own use. We should be more than able to supply our own electricity. We shouldn't be buying it from other people. That's just ridiculous. So stuff needs to change. Diamonds and Henna, hello, how you doing? Is Trump going to give the states education aid? I don't know what's going on, just that he's, closing down the Department of Education, the federal. Um, is it just like everything else? He's shutting it down and putting it back in the hands of the states? Because if that's the case, that sounds good to me. I don't know. All of this, the cutbacks and the waste, cutting the fat off of all of these federal departments, can only help your country. Yes, I know, Mr. Q. Cow or horsehair is brutal. That stuff can weave through denim and poke into your leg. It's very, very bad. I do remember cat hair and dog hair. Way, way nicer to deal with. Mr. Q, I unload train cars of lumber and sheetrock from rail cars from Canada, and you guys were supposed to have tariffs, but then they just dropped the price. Yeah, I don't know. I know nothing. I know nothing about that. I don't really pay attention to the tariffs because there's nothing I can do about it. I know they're there. I know things cost more. I see it in the store, but that's, the little games that they're all playing with each other. It's just silliness. But yeah, BC also has more lumber than you could ever need. We've got all sorts of mineral and natural things that could make us a lot of money if we were, governed properly. I'm debating if I should drink 1 cup of coffee or 4. Decisions. You drink 4, buddy. You drink 4, and 2 of them will be for me because I'm cutting them back. Mr. Q, I'm a bad smoker too. Oh, well, I only want to outlive my parents, and then it doesn't matter. There's that, in the back of my head, and I know it's ridiculous. I understand that it really isn't, it's not true, but I'm always a little concerned that the people that I know that smoked most their life and then ended up with lung cancer and getting sick are the ones that quit. Now, I know that's not every case, but most of the cases in my life, the only time they ended up developing lung cancer and other, emphysema stuff was once they'd quit and been quit for years. So in the back of my mind, I'm kind of like, do I really want to quit, or do I want to just, cut it right back again and just keep it down to, less than 5 cigarettes a day and just, I'm smoking a lot more than 5 cigarettes a day right now. Like the last time I tried to quit, I was making an earnest go for it, and I went to the acupuncturist, who ended up telling me something, that my eyes were screwed, and I ended up spending 8 hours at the hospital in emergency with all sorts of other really sick and miserable people. And I ended up bumming a smoke off a couple of different people who were also stuck in emergency for hours and hours and hours. And that was it. Ever since I've been smoking, not just like normal, I've been smoking more than normal. It's almost like it's almost that I know that I'm really wanting to quit. So my bad habit is encouraging me to use twice as much. Like, oh, get it in before you quit so you won't be missing as much. Again, I know it's stupid, but these are the thoughts that run through my brain and keep me from quitting. I'm not hunting killer whales for the meat. There was once in Lovely, there were multiple pods of killer whales that come up Puget Sound and straight on through. I can't remember what it is on our side, but it is the Pacific Ocean, and it's inlets and stuff. But there were huge pods of killer whales when I was a kid growing up, and it was awesome. You go to Stanley Park in Vancouver and you can see them off in the distance with your binoculars. You can see them playing. And we'd go to Seattle. There was a place we used to go to camp in Birch Bay, and we go there, and same thing. You go out to the ocean, and you can see these killer whales swimming around. It was so cool. It was so very cool. So yeah, when back in the day when I was using the sea kayak on a regular, that was a potential thing, running into killer whales, and they're playful. They're playful. I know, Linda. See, I know, and I've got multiple people telling me that. She's saying the problem with smoking is you end up on oxygen with very low lung volume, with no energy to do anything, as well as not being able to breathe, to talk, laugh, or even get dressed. I know. I know that. And again, this is all stuff I know, but it's just something. It will happen. I will quit. I will get there. Yeah. I went from one extreme to the other. I'm smoking way more than I think I ever did in my life before. Hello, Mr. Beat. You're just showing up. Well, that's okay. I'm about 25 minutes behind in chat. You just showed up. Good to see you. It's been a minute. I think I saw you in Johnny's chat the other day, but it's good to see you. Brian is teaching me. Pyrolysis is using a fuckload of heat to bust apart the bonds that hold chemicals together. Okay. For example, you can take an acrylic polymer and get back chunks of monomers. Okay. And you're wanting to break that down so that you can then extrapolate just how many microparticles are in like X amount of water or whatever the ground, I'm assuming. It's very interesting. That's very, I can follow it, but I really don't, I don't know much about it. It's been way too long since I did anything like chemistry. Mr. Q. You're not far off. Brian, science. What the fuck? So you lit water on fire to figure out how much plastic was in it. Mr. Q, during one of my reading streams, Brian tends to have emergencies at his work in the lab when he's listening to my reading streams. And one of those streams, the emergency was someone lit water on fire and they had to put it out. And it was an emergency. So yes, they do literally light the water on fire. It's pretty impressive. I would like to see that someday. Oh, shoot. Diamonds and Henna is asking Brian if he's in marine biology. Okay, there we go. Actually, the best strat, in my opinion, would be to try to evaporate the water off first, then take a representative sample of the leftover solids, then nuke it. Okay. Okay, cool. I would still like to see water on fire. Throwing it out there. Wild, did you see the picture of Carney with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell? Yes, pure WEF. He is rather high up in the WEF as well. I don't think he's on the board of directors like Chrystia Freeland is, but he's very high up there. He worked in the EU banking system for a very long time. He started in Canada. He messed up our banking system fairly badly. Then he left and went to the UK. I think he did some time in the EU, and then he went to work for the UK, advising them during the whole Brexit thing. So he helped them do that. and they're not very pleased with the outcome. He made life a lot harder for the average Brit, just trying to make a living. And then he came back to advise Trudeau, and now suddenly he's a de facto prime minister until they actually get an election. And if that election is actually not rigged, which these days I would be more surprised if it was a fair election than I would if I was told it was rigged. I watched them do it in the BC, the provincial election. The Conservative Party hasn't been in control of BC in nearly 100 years. They nearly won the election this time around because the NDP and the Liberals have made such a shithole of BC. The only reason they didn't win, in my opinion, is because it was rigged. It's the first time I ever had to vote using a Dominion machine. I've never seen them before. They were always paper and they were tallied by humans. But this time there was a Dominion voting machine. And the Conservative Party is actually in the middle of multiple court cases and stuff trying to challenge the results still. So the likelihood that any election for Canada, like federally, to be not rigged is slim to none. It's you, Cat for Brian's saying, no, I'm a chemist. The instrumentation is what he's studying. Hello, Hobo Chili Recipe. How you doing? Good evening, Foreign Devil. I prefer Mayo Monkey. Good to see ya. AP says, I've never been to Alaska. More than likely never will now. But I'd fly if I did go, though. Alaska was beautiful. Yukon is beautiful. I never did the Northwest Territories. But it really is. It's beautiful. Not nearly as touched by human hands as most of North America. It's raw still. Hobo Chili Recipe. Pierre Trudeau, not his father, Papa Castro. Right. You're right. He grew up with Pierre Trudeau in Rideau Manor, not with his father, Castro. And Hobo saying you're all communists. You know what? A lot of us are. That's the reason things like Alberta and Saskatchewan separating is a thing. It's because of the socialist, I see it as communist agenda that has usurped most of the country. And Diamondson, truck you. You saw that, eh? Truck you, Trudeau. Yes, I love this shirt, and I will continue to wear it in pride. Yeah, not a fan of Trudeau. Once we finally have an election and we find out who's the new PM once and for all, I'll have to change my X thing or whatever, because right now I've got fuck you Trudeau or something along those lines as my tagline on my X account. So I'll have to update it, but we'll wait and see who gets in power first. Brian's asking what the average family income is. I don't know. Been there, done that. Says I'm working on my glass. I've been watching your the pictures you're posting. It's so beautiful. I remember doing that when I was little. It was one of those artsy craftsy things that my mom would do with us when we were really little. And I remember it being a lot of fun and having all sorts of things hanging in the window, just making all sorts of pretty colors. I don't know. I was going to say it makes me want to start it, and it does. It makes me want to try it again, but I know I won't get around to it. I've got a zillion and one things that I mean to get around to doing, and I never get most of them done. But I am loving what you're putting out there. If you guys didn't realize, been there, done that. He makes stained glass pieces, windows or pieces to hang in windows. Beautiful things. He made a bee in a honeycomb for Connor Legal Vices' son. And he's making another one for Danny on right now. Really beautiful work. It takes a lot of time and talent. The plan was to send the money back to the States instead of having a useless Fed department. Okay. Well, that makes sense for me, or to me, right? The more stuff that gets put back in the hands of the state, the more autonomy each of the states gets, the happier they're going to be, right? And the whole point of the federal government is to handle kind of, the overarching stuff of the nation that cannot be dealt with simply by the states. The federal government wasn't supposed to have a hand in absolutely every aspect of every moment of a person's life. That's not what they're supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be there to just kind of handle the larger things, that cannot be dealt with by just one state or province. So it would be lovely if we could get our respective countries back to that point, Diamonds and Henna says, okay, so it's not a fend for yourself situation. Working on glass. Not a fend for yourself situation. No, not for me in anyways. I'm very, very lucky. Very lucky in that respect. Being on provincial disability, they cover they cover all the prescriptions. So I don't have a minimum that I have to pay before they'll cover the rest. They just cover all of the prescriptions. I get a living allowance, just a single person, but I live in one of the least expensive towns to live in the interior or in BC or what have you. It was top 3 of a list of 10. So that was nice. And the place that I live here, I moved in 10 years ago, and the landlord at the time was next door neighbor to my mom and stepdad. I dog sat and house sat for them whenever they went out of town, which was often. So when he rented me this place, he rented it to me at a very, very low rate. And he never raised the rent on anyone who lived here. He never raised the rent. When he sold the property, when he got the management company and then sold the property, every year since the management company came in, they've been raising the rent. But because it started at such a low amount, I'm still paying way less than a place my size costs on average right now. So I'm very, very lucky. The guy downstairs, his entire place is what you can see, the little bit of kitchen that you can't see, and a bathroom. And for that, he's paying more. Yeah, he's paying twice what I pay for this. And I've also got a bedroom. There's no door on it, so it's an almost 1 bedroom, but I do have that bedroom space. I don't have to, my bed isn't my living room, right? And I am paying way less than he's paying. So I'm really lucky to have the place that I've got. It allows me to be able to afford things, little things. Hobo saying Johnny has some lumber too. That's the rumor on the internet. That's what I've heard. Wild says it comes down to the seriously important things. Garden shovels and American liquor, right? I know. Now, American liquor, I guess I could live without. I don't drink often enough. I would miss my JD honey in the summertime, but it's not a real hardship. My shovels, however, they're taking away my shovels, and it's just ridiculous. It's just stupidity. The way I feel about that, if you've ever seen the movie Spaceballs, and they're fighting their way out to get back to the spaceship that was a touring bus. Winnebago. Holy Hannah, that was hard to pull out. One of the scenes where they're all grouped together and they're trying to get to the Winnebago spaceship. The princess has actually got a gun in her hand and she's shooting, and one of the bad guys shoots and like zaps, and some of her hair goes fizzle, and she got so pissed off. She went from being a prissy dainty thing. She got so pissed off, that bastard shot my hair. And she just goes on a tirade, and she kills everything in sight and opens up paths so that they can get in to the spaceship and get away. And that's how I feel when I think about the fact that they've taken away my shovels. I mean, they haven't taken them away. They've made them illegal. I still have some of them, but I will be losing them in a wild boating accident this summer. I promise I will be. The boating accident is planned in advance, but unfortunately, I'm going to lose some shovels. I'm going to lose a few things in that boating accident, probably happening in July, August. Hobo chili recipe. I don't know whether to take you seriously or if that's the start of a joke. So I sure hope not. That's all I can say. Wild Flame with JD and Trump. Emotes over in Rumble. Rumble's got some funny emotes, I have to say. I like the Trump flossing. Hello, SH. How you doing? Saying secondhand smoke kills too. My mom never smoked, but enjoyed bingo and slots and got years of exposure. Oh, yeah. I remember going to the bingo halls when we were, teenagers. It was horrible. I remember also when they started making smoking inside illegal and forcing everyone to go outside. That was a pretty wild time too. I preferred it. I've smoked most of my life, but I don't like smoking inside a room. Like, I don't smoke in the house. That's not cool. I smoke my pot. But that's different. It's very hard to go out in minus 15 Celsius and try and heat up the bowl of your dab rig and get the dab onto the hot dab rig before it's already freezing again, because it's minus 15 Celsius outside. That's, it's impossible. And even smoking a doobie in that kind of cold is just impossible. So I do smoke my pot inside, but no cigarettes. I just can't stand. There's enough smell on me and my clothes as is without bringing it in the house. Oh, AP says you can still see the killer whales. Your cousin just saw a pod in Seattle the other day. Yeah, there is still apparently there's one pod left, and at last count there was 78 members of that pod. That was a few years back though. I think that was just before COVID hit, I think. So it's not at all like it was. But they are still there, thank goodness. AP saying, I will quit, just do it now. I had nearly done it, and then, yeah, I wimped out. Linda said, I quit smoking because of my illness. My husband died of lung cancer and never had a problem with his lungs, other than the tumors, of course. He smoked until he died. Yeah. See, and that's rationally, I understand that, and I know that's, that's the way it works. But the irrational, addicted part of myself still thinks, that maybe it's Murphy's Law. I quit, and then I finally quit, and that's when I get sick. I don't know. Hobo chili, yes. Communism is the end goal of socialism. Correct. And they like to say that we're a liberal party. They will behind closed doors call it socialism, but if we want to be realistic, we're already a communist country. We're already there. Been there, done that. Says, I'm making her a lighthouse. Danny, making her a lighthouse. I'm pretty sure I've seen the start of it, or maybe it was just the plan. I can't remember offhand. I think I saw the outline. Yeah, AP. The federal government is just supposed to protect us from foreign invaders and corral the states under the Constitution, nothing more. Exactly. My government, instead of protecting us against the foreign invaders, they've invited them in, become friends with them, and given them the best of everything. Mr. Q says, I got a crappy apartment in town. Yeah, this is, I mean, it's not a great apartment. It's sound though. Hot water is very hit or miss, especially if the laundry has been going or if it's at all cold. And that's a whole nother thing. But overall, it's solid. The windows are good. There's no condensation or mold or anything. It's all nice and clean and safe and fairly inexpensive to keep warm in the winter. So I'm happy. I'm really lucky. And I've got a deck out here because my place, the front door is on the ground level, and then you have to come up the stairs up to the top right here. So it's the stairway of death behind me. It goes all the way down a floor in not a very long space of time. But because of that, I've also got a deck right here, the sliding glass door, and it goes out into a nice little Juliet balcony sort of thing. It's enough for me to put my pots for plants out and a little seat. Depending on how small the seat is, I can even get a tiny little table out there for the summertime. It's really very nice. I am very, very lucky. So Mr. Q says his girlfriend has a nice place out in the country. It's technically her sister's house. And I have a little crappy cabin out in the middle of nowhere too. Gotcha. Yes, thank you, you guys. Winnebago, Spaceballs is good. How are you allowed to have a chainsaw but not a shovel? I don't know. God forbid I go asking that question, find out the chainsaws are illegal too, or that you need a permit, you know. AP, yeah, you know it. You know it. I hate guns. Hair gets singed. My hair. He shot my hair. Boom. Yes. Holy shit, that was pretty good for a girl. I loved that scene. Although my favorite scene in the whole Spaceballs movie is when he says, comb the desert. And there's the two men with the long, the black, many tonged brush or comb that men use. My dad always had them like in his pockets and around the house, the little black combs, and they were pulling it across. And that was perfect. That on its own would have been great. But then they went one further and said, how about you? And it pans over to a couple of black guys dragging a hair pick through the sand to comb the sand. And that just killed me. Every time I see it, I still laugh hysterically. It's so silly. I love it. Childish and silly. That's a thing, isn't it, Ben? If we join you guys as Americans, we're going to need to convert to Fahrenheit. I don't know. Celsius just makes more sense. I mean, it just makes more sense. You've got 0. That's the point where water becomes ice. So anything that gets colder is going to be minus. Anything that gets warmer is going to be a plus. Simple. Our 0 degrees is like your 44 degrees Fahrenheit or some such. Very strange. Doesn't make any sense at all. Not to me anyway. And Linda's right. That's one of the songs that plays through my head fairly regularly is we need to always look on the bright side of life. I love it. AP, that was good for Rambo. We actually, the town of Hope was the town that they filmed the first Rambo in. Was it the first or the second? Oops. Now my brain is doing. I'm pretty sure it was the first one. It's Town of Hope, BC Rambo movie. First Blood. Okay. So the movie First Blood was filmed in the town of Hope, BC, and its environs. Hope would be about halfway between where I live in the interior and the coast, say Vancouver. Hope is the halfway point. It's also the very last town you're going to hit at the very foot of the Rocky Mountains. Everything after that is you're into mountains and tiny towns, rural towns. Hope is the last, normal city sort of thing. It's a small town, but it's still bigger than you're going to get in the rest of the time going through the Rockies. Mr. Q, I refuse to smoke cigarettes in the house around my kids or my cats or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, it's common sense and common decency. If I'm walking down the street, like if I'm walking downtown and I have a cigarette, I make sure I get all of the tobacco and the burning bit out on the ground, which I can stomp out, make sure it's gone out. I live in fire area, right? Forest fire is very, very common. It's a yearly occurrence here. So I make sure it goes out completely, but then I keep the actual filter itself. I've got a special pocket in my purse and I just put it in that pocket. And when I get home, I empty that pocket into the garbage. I don't flick my cigarette butts just anywhere. I don't, leave them on the ground tamped out like that. I actually take the physical filter part of the cigarette home with me to dispose of properly. But that's because I'm a weirdo and I spend a lot of time in the forest and in the bush and very well trained. What you take in, you take out. You never leave anything. And more often than not, you take out more than you bring in. So I definitely don't smoke around people, nieces, nephews. If there's someone walking down the street and I'm smoking, I'll step back in a way and I won't take a puff until they're passed. So I don't, exhale it as they're passing. I'm weird. I'm polite. I'm a Canuck. SH says, I hated coming home from the bar and stinking of smoke in my clean bed. Had to shower before sleep. Yeah, it didn't bother me back in the day, but that's probably because I was partying. So, and a smoker. So it didn't, but it really bothers me now. I can smell it. I think what bothers me most is I can smell it in my hair. And I hate that. I really can't stand smelling the cigarette smoke in my hair. It's noticeable on my clothes, but not as much because I am a smoker. But I'll notice it in my hair. Like, I wash my hair every third, fourth day, depending on time of year. Right? You don't need to wash it every day, but yeah, that usually when I need to wash my hair again is because I can smell the cigarette smoke. It's just, don't like it. Wild says, as a smoker, I get it. We're playing the Vegas odds, knowing full well the odds favor the house. Yep. Linda's saying her phone's going to die. See you later. See you later, Linda. I'm actually not that far behind now. Woohoo. So you may even have heard that. How is that? SH says, my babysitter smoked, so it smelled like smoke for 2 years. Well, you're my age too, SH. So everyone smoked, when we were little, everyone smoked. And I mean, I started smoking at the age of 12. So I smoked cigarettes before I ever touched a drop of alcohol. And both of those happened years before I even considered touching drugs, something horrible like marijuana, let alone mushroom and acids and the other stuff. But yeah, I've smelled like smoke and I've been around smokers for forever. And yeah, it's a part of me. So it's a part of me I got to change. I got to do it. I know AP was saying just quit. I know. The fear is real. But I'll get there. Kaiser says communism has been tried dozens of times and failed every time. Capitalism, while not perfect, is responsible for bringing more people out of poverty and encouraging prosperity than any other ideology. Very true. Very true. Um, it's wild how much the political spectrum has shifted. My beliefs, my morals, my moral compass has stayed relatively the same all of my life. I used to be considered a liberal, a full liberal, but now, without having changed my mindset and my belief system at all, I am considered not just a conservative, but I'm a far right conservative. I'm one of the danger weirdo ones, the terrorist list ones. And it's not me, it's not my beliefs, it's just they've moved the football posts so far. It's what we call liberal is what we call liberal, the Liberal Party is a socialist party, and what we know of as the NDP or the New Democratic Party, listen to that name. The NDP would be the Communist Party, or the closest thing to an actual full-on communist party as there is in Canada. You can tell. Look at BC. NDP started really burst into popularity growing in BC. They've been running. The NDP has been in charge of the province for, oh goodness, decades. For at least 20 years, at least. I think they started coming up in the 90s in BC, and they quickly took control, took power, and now they're the third largest party in Canada. And they're basically, like I said, they're basically the communists. It's scary. Yeah, I love Spaceballs. We ain't found shit, right? It's the black guys who are holding the Afro prick. Exactly. Everyone, we ain't found shit. That's in Johnny's opening closing. It's awesome. I love hearing it. I actually own that. That's another movie I should watch again. Every dad with hair had one of those little black combs in his pocket, right? He always had one of those little black combs. There was always one in the bathroom. Yeah, everyone had it. Oh, AP has got me. So it's 32 degrees Fahrenheit is hour zero. But it just makes sense. Minus is freezing. Plus is getting warmer. Mr. Q says freedom fractions for the win, not only in world wars, but in the race to the moon and everything else that matters. American cars are better because of standards compared to metric. Or at least the old cars. I don't know. Agree to disagree just because, I have dyslexia, and for me it's always been numbers more than letters. My mom made me a reader at an early age and gave me a lot of tricks for me to be able to figure out what the word really was, no matter how much the letters are dancing around. I can figure out what it's supposed to say. Cannot do that with numbers, never could. Highly doubt that I ever will be able to. So when they simplify it and make it easy, like the minus freezing plus gets warm, that's easy for me to remember. Don't make it difficult with the Fahrenheit stuff. It doesn't make any sense. I'm never going to remember. No, Wild, I don't toss my butts about. The Overton window. But yes, it's shifted so much. The nice thing is I think we're starting to see a bit of a shift back the other way. It took us at least 20 years to get to the point we're at now, from the point that I remember it being okay. So, hopefully it'll take us less than 20 years to get back to the okay part, before political correctness was a thing. Good night, Wild. You take care too. I'll see you tomorrow. Hello, Crispy. Capitalism is the greatest form of government created by man. NDP are commie dirtbags for show. Yes. Yes, the NDP is just the communist agenda with a different name. China Alliance Canada. China has a lot of control in Canada and specifically in BC. They are one of the major powerhouses that controls the Lower Mainland, which is the ports and the train depots and all the important bits, right? Like he who controls that area controls the province. So true conservatives are liberals. They want to conserve the founding fathers' ideals enshrined in the Constitution. I'm a classical liberal. I like that. But yeah, I mean, Democrats, they were not the good guys. They like to portray themselves in their history as being the good guys, but they're not. Not the kids these days know or understand that, but Mr. Q says, see, that's the kind of the weird thing is that Aaron hates all the stuff that Johnny likes. Cats, Spaceballs, weed. Like, just name a thing, they're exact opposites, so it kind of works. Yeah, I don't know. I've only met Aaron that one time that I came on to Steel Toe briefly. He was pleasant. He was congenial. He seemed like a nice guy. I don't really watch Steel Toe unless Johnny's on and I'm up that early. But yeah, he seemed like a nice enough guy. I know what I've heard and I know how people talk and stuff, but I don't know myself. He seems like a nice guy. But yeah, he seems to be, I guess, very different from Johnny, which is probably what makes, like you said, what makes it work is the differences. If they were exactly the same, it would just be, an echo chamber. You guys would get bored very quickly. AP says American cars have been using metric since the early 80s. I work in automotive. I design in metric only. Fair enough. Fair enough. I learned it was either the 60s or the 80s is when we actually picked our flag, the Canadian flag. There we go. Yeah, it was as recent as 1965. That's when we chose the Canadian flag that we all know and love. It was only 1965. That's really not it was showcased at the World Expo 67. And it was raised in 65 in Parliament Hill for the first time. But I mean, that seems really recent, does it not? 1965, I was only born, 12 or 13 years later. I was 79, So really it's very young, that flag. I would have assumed it was the same flag that we'd always had in Canada. I didn't know there was a flag previous to it. So you learn something new every day. Okay, Mr. Q also agrees with AP. He says he works with wood. Fractions are better. Chris says BC only has a few million people and at least half are Chinese or Hindus. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And of those, the bulk of them are on the coast, although there are plenty in the rural areas as well. Mr. Q says Aaron likes sports. Johnny doesn't. Johnny hates little dogs? ? Aaron hates cats. It's just kind of weird. It's just weird. That's all. Yeah, opposites attract. They play off each other better. That's my guess. I don't think Johnny hates sports or little dogs. I didn't know that. Perhaps he does. I do not know. I know that Johnny played a lot of sports when before the MS got him. I know he played a lot of hockey and other sports. So I don't think he hates them. He may just not watch them. U.S. flag changed in the 40s or 50s. Oh, really? Okay. I mean, I know it had changed from the one that, what was it, Betsy Ross or someone sewed in the middle of the Civil War. I know it had changed from what she made originally, but I didn't realize it was that relatively recent either. That's interesting. Mr. Q says Aaron is harmless. He's a dork. All of his problems are about women. Some of us people did way worse stuff than Aaron. We were just smart enough to do it when we were younger and before we had kids, right? Before you get caught. And we're also of the right age. Aaron is younger than us, I believe, Mr. Q and SH, right? Aaron's younger than, oh, there's Johnny right there. I don't hate sports or dogs. There you go. So he does not hate sports or dogs. There you go. I'm pretty sure Aaron's younger than us. So it might just be, oh shoot, I lost my dork. Okay, yeah. More often than not, more likely than not, it's the fact that we're just old enough that we didn't have cell phones when we were kids. We weren't recording absolutely everything we did. I know as teenagers, my grade 12 year, one of my buddies was in the AV club, and he would actually rent out those VHS video recorders. You know, the big ass ones that would sit on your shoulder and you had to carry. He was a big dude. And he was in the AV club, so he would rent it for the weekends, and he would take that with us as we were walking through the bush and climbing up mountains, high as kites on acid or mushrooms or whatever it was that we were doing, and he'd record them. We called them journeys, you know, and he'd record them with that big ass shoulder recording thing. But that was very rare. Only happened a few times. There were no selfies constantly. I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere. We got away with a lot because it was not being recorded. We do not have to have it biting us in the ass repeatedly the rest of our lives. Kids these days, everything's recorded. And even, I don't know. I can't imagine being a kid in these days. You don't have any privacy. There's always a screen. There's always stuff. There's no just being outdoors. You couldn't be a stupid punk kid and face whatever consequences there were and then be done with it. It's been recorded and you have to live it down again and again and again and again. Horrible. I can't imagine being a kid these days. Oh, SH and AP are both saying every time a state is added, the flag changes, you add stars. Okay. Oh, Alaska didn't come to the 50th state until 1949. Okay. So that's relatively recent too. All right. Mr. Q says there's 36 different versions of the American flag, going from the 13 colonies to 50 state stars and stripes that we got now. Okay, interesting. I don't know why I thought it was as late as 52, Mr. Q, but I was not sure. Oh, the Alaska. I will give you guys that. When it comes to measuring, for building, say a planter box for outside or walls or building, you're right. It does make it a lot easier when you can use metric and the fractions and stuff. That's true. I'm just saying specifically the temperature. How about if we trade? We'll just go full metric except for the temperature, and you guys stop using that weird Fahrenheit that doesn't make any sense. It needs all sort of mathematical equations. You guys get rid of that and just take up Celsius, and we'll get rid of everything else and come on board. Standard still made it to the moon first. Fair enough. Hi, MSO. How you doing? Oh, SH is saying, I'm glad we didn't have smartphones then. There are some physical photos that are floating around somewhere that I'd rather have destroyed. Oh, I know. I've got physical photos that I am so glad were not recorded as video. Those are bad enough. those are embarrassing enough. But yeah, to have had smartphones and record everything you say and do your entire life is just scary because you're so young when you start doing it that you're too young and dumb to know what it is you're saying and doing. Um, but now you don't just learn the lesson and move on. You have to relive that lesson every time you apply for a new job or, the internet people decide they dislike you for whatever reason or social credit comes in and suddenly the government decides that what you said when you were 12 on a camping trip is not right and they're taking your social credit score way down and you know yes, social credit is a real thing. It's a real fear. Like I said, the CCP controls BC. It's very dangerous. They're talking about universal credit in BC already. They've been talking about it for years, but since the NDP got control, like won the recent election, they've been pushing it again on the coast. Stupid people think, oh yeah, it'll make life so much easier if the government just gives us, X amount of free dollars each month. They have no idea where that money's coming from. They don't think about the fact that that money's got to come from somewhere. Ah, Mr. Q, that's the nice part about being out in the middle of nowhere. If my kids walk more than 20 feet away from the house, they have no internet. See, that's good. That's good. I was outside all the time, rain or shine. We were always outside doing something. AP says Fahrenheit is more accurate than Celsius for temperature. It's based on air and not water. Yeah, but basing it on water makes so much more sense. It makes more sense to me because this is what I've grown up with. Maybe you're right. Maybe Fahrenheit makes more sense. It's based on air, not water. It just for me, it's visible. I can tell if the lake is starting to freeze over. I can tell it's going to be in the minuses. It's cold, right? Like it just makes sense. Measuring it from something I can visually see. Lexi says the Ohio flag is the best one, not because I grew up there. I love Arizona. Anyway, Ohio has the old pennant style with the single star. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. The historical aspects. I'm a history buff. I love history. So, hello, Saint Aaron. How you doing? That is Sweets right there, and nope, I don't know. Boo's around somewhere. They're being very polite. Oh, I guess I've been going more than 2 hours, so they're being very, very polite because it is well past that time, and they're not here telling me it's past that time. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, Sweets is the one that was acting all sucky this morning. I couldn't go anywhere without her being right in between my feet or up on me or climbing on my back or whatever. She just needed affection. She needed to be touched. AP says, hilariously, as a shooter, I use both metric mills, milliradians, and MOA, minute of angle. Oh, goodness. See, now you just... I've heard those terms, but if I had to use those sort of things in my day-to-day life as well, I'd be lost. Come on. Hey, come on, Sweets. You can do it. I've seen you do it. Oh, no. Now I'm paying attention, so she won't. Mr. Q says, I have so many Polaroids from so many concerts. Yeah, I couldn't put on a right? And camping trips and yeah, just all the fun stuff. See, she could do it. She just doesn't want to do it for me. It has to be of her own accord. She's also angry because the cat TV is closed right now. Not very good. There's no difference in visual temperature of water between the temperature units. Well, there is. Like at 0 is that mean level. -1 and it's ice. 1 and it's water. It's completely water. That's a visual that's how I can tell where we're at temperature wise, right? I know that will be 0 or -0. For you guys, like you're saying, it was 32. Is that freezing? 32 is just a random number to me. It doesn't, there's no memory trick for me to grab onto to help me with it. Like I said, the numbers, they dance and spin and do all sorts of things. So I need to have, rules and reasons and stuff. And I know visually, I know that when it starts to freeze, it's going to be minus. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a silly Canadian and that's how I was taught. And so that's all I know. But yeah. MSO says, hey, just one leaf works fine though. We only need one leaf. It's the best leaf. Metric mills is faster in shooting, but less accurate. MOA is more accurate, but slower to adjust. Gotcha. I got a big UD cap in my lap and it's wonderful, says Mr. Q. I almost said Mr. HQ. Yeah, that's one thing my girls don't do. They don't like to be held. They don't sit in my lap. They need to be very close by, but they don't like to be confined. I force cuddle them from time to time, but they don't they don't like it as much. But look at that. We've been going 2 hours and 16 minutes. I am at the very end of chat. I'd say I would call that a great day. It was nice to catch up with you guys. It's weird when I don't get to see you throughout the day. So yeah, it was nice to catch up with you guys with no show during the day today. And today being Thursday. Oh, right. I don't do anything anymore. I don't do anything anymore. My weekends are open again. I was going to say game night Saturday night, but my weekends are open. So I guess I will see you Monday for chatting with friends. And until then, you guys, you be well and you enjoy yourselves in the real world because it's not all about just this, right? Love you lots. We'll see you soon.
Topics change from day to day. Science, art, or history's play. No path too twisted, no trail too thin. She dives right in where to begin. After anything, nothing's too obscure. She'll dig and dig a spirit so pure. From ancient lore to future dreams, every question finds its gleam.